Hello and welcome to the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show and Wake Up with RT Sports. This is our first edition of Wake Up with RT Sports here at RealTime Fantasy Sports. We're going to do this every Sunday morning, going over the inactives and also answering any questions you might have. If you have any start-sit questions, trade questions, you name it, anything fantasy related with fantasy football, we are here to help you get ready for your games for the week. And we're going to talk about inactives first with my son, Henry Paur. Henry, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, Jeffrey.
You excited about today?
Yeah, I am.
Should be a fun day of football. First one of the season. A lot of fun. I know it's always exciting that first week because you got your team set, you're ready to go, and you're ready to see it on the field produce, right?
Yeah, you got to see how that team does. Who's going to be good, who's going to be boom or bust.
Exactly. So let's bring up these inactives. I'm going to bring the screen up here on our page, and you can see all of them here. So we have this on your pages, on your RT Sports home pages. So if you want to take a look at them there, you can see it. So let's talk about the main ones. Note, Henry. So the big one, a couple big ones. J.K. Dobbins, he's out.
Yeah, said he was going to play. I think back in the early preseason, said I'll be ready to go by week 1, and it's not panning out so well for him.
No, not so much. So he's not going to play. I'm anxious to see who they use in Baltimore. It's going to be a bit of a mixed bag there. They got all sorts of different options they can go with. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I might just stay away from that situation personally, unless I'm really desperate. I mean, Mike Davis, Kenyon Drake. What would you do?
I'm going to be with you on that. I don't know what's going to happen there. I would stay away. I mean, you have Mike Davis, who did this sign very early, so he probably knows the playbook and knows everything. Drake signed about 1 or 2 weeks ago, so he didn't know everything yet. Yeah. So I'm going to say they probably go with Mike Davis.
So as we go through these inactives, Atlanta, a big one to note for me is Tyler Algier, the rookie. A lot of people thought he was going to start this year in Atlanta at some point. Obviously, he's not starting this week because he's inactive. So Algier's not going to play. In San Francisco, Tyron Davis-Price, he's out. He was another one that people thought might be a factor in the running game, the rookie. And George Kittle, that's a huge one, probably the biggest name in these early games. He is inactive. He will not play. So, San Francisco's down one of their weapons. And also that game, did everyone see it? So if you did not, it's a mess. Yeah. That field is a disaster. It's been pouring down rain. It's supposed to slow up at some point, I believe, but not a good situation right now. I would be worried about any pass catchers in that game at this point. Yeah. Stuff you want to keep an eye on is definitely that weather, those weather situations. So definitely keep an eye on that one. Not a good situation for throwing. So any of those pass catchers, throwers,
I would be worried about.
Yeah. I mean, Lance and Fields, the only thing good with them is they can run.
Yeah.
So they may get some movement with their legs there, get some fantasy points there. Chicago, too, also has their rookie, Velus Jones. Easy for me to say, right, Henry? He's inactive. It's another one. People thought he might play a role, so he's not going to play this first week of the season. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, nothing really crazy there. Mason Rudolph's inactive. We knew that Kenny Pickett was going to be the backup, so nothing too out of the ordinary. Philadelphia, Detroit, that game as well. Nothing really of note. Trey Sermon's out with Philadelphia. Nothing really crazy in that game. New England, Miami. Salvon Ahmad, he is inactive, so that running back situation, Miami, a little less confusing, I guess, just a little with him not playing. So he will not play. Nothing else really crazy in that game. Baltimore, New York. Nick Boyle's out with Baltimore. He's got some play at the tight end spot, but with the rookie Isaiah Likely,
he's probably going to be down in that third tight end role, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Nick Boyle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's inactive this week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's not. And then the Jets, we know Zach Wilson's not playing. Joe Flacco's going to start there. Denzel Mims is a healthy scratch. He wants a trade, so he's not going to get any play at this point. Jacksonville, Washington, that game, nothing really too crazy there. Sam Howell's inactive. He looked really good in the preseason. I think he could be a factor.
Yeah, I think he could come into play at some point during that season for them. He looked really well. I mean, you can worry about Wentz a lot, so he might get benched at some point this year. You never know.
Yeah, definitely. Cleveland, Carolina, that game. Dearness Johnson's a scratch. I thought he might be the top backup there, but he's out. I don't know. Is that an injury situation? I don't even know at this point. I guess I should. He's inactive. He's a healthy scratch. So Who's their top backup? I need to figure
Kareem
that.
Hunt.
Oh yeah, Kareem Hunt. Yeah, good one there. But Dearness Johnson's played well when he's.
Yeah, the 1 week where both of those top two backs were out, and when he played Denver, he had like 130 rushing yards and a touchdown. And had a great week.
Yep. Carolina, nothing really of note there. Laviska Shenault just got traded there. He's a scratch. Indianapolis, Houston. That's the last one on here. Again, nothing really too crazy there. So our list here of people in. So Drake London was battling an injury.
Hmm.
He's playing in Atlanta. That's a good sign for them. They'll need that rookie out there. Michael Thomas is in too. Your favorite player always has some injury issues, unfortunately, but he's out there for this week 1. He's had a hamstring issue already, but he's playing. Ty Montgomery with New England. He could get some play in there with that situation. So he's going to play this week, and that's the big ones. There's some later games as well where we kind of know already. Zach Ertz, he's expected to play in Arizona. When's their game again? That's a
3:25.
3:25. That's Central Time. He is going to play, so that's good for that offense. It's good for Ertz too. He might be on a pitch count though, so that's something to watch. Same thing with Chris Godwin. It looks like he's probably going to play in Tampa Bay. That game is the Sunday night game. Should be a good one with Tampa Bay and Dallas. So got a couple questions here, Henry. Let's get to those now. Should I drop Madison for Michael Carter? That's a good question. I mean, if you are a Dalvin Cook owner, I think you almost have to keep Madison personally.
Yeah.
Because Michael Carter, it looks like he's going to start, and they're saying that he could, have that role early in the season. Breece Hall is going to be the backup. But if you don't have Dalvin Cook, I would be okay with dropping Madison for Carter because I think he could have some value early in the season. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Michael Carter, I feel like at some point during the season, Breece Hall's probably gonna end up taking over. And Michael Carter's still pretty good, but Breece Hall, they're gonna like smooth them into it,
Yeah.
and it'll roll. And Madison, I know, Owen, you have Dalvin Cook, so you probably should keep Madison.
All right, so Henry knows the first person asking the question, so that's probably smart. Yeah, to keep Madison if you have Dalvin Cook, that's a good move. All right, another question, a start-sit question: Rashad Bateman, Mike Williams, or CeeDee Lamb. Pick 2. Those are 3 really good receivers. I'll let you go first. What's your thoughts?
I would say for sure start CeeDee Lamb. I love him this week, especially that matchup. It's still a tough defense, but him and Dalton Schultz are really the only 2 pass catchers in that offense this week. Besides Jalen Tolbert, we don't know what he's going to really do.
They're saying Jalen Tolbert might be a healthy scratch. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
Yeah, so that was kind of crazy to me because a lot of people were picking him in drafts, thinking he's going to start early in the season, but it's looking like he might not play a big role early on. But I'm like you. I think CeeDee Williams is a must start out of those 2. So it's between Bateman and Williams.
So my thoughts on that one is Mike Williams. He's going against Las Vegas, who doesn't have the best secondary in the world. They lost some key pieces, so I like him. But Bateman is going to be a little boomer bust in my opinion because the Ravens could get out to a big lead in this game and then just run the ball. Because that's a big thing they do. I would personally go Mike Williams. I think he's probably a safer option, especially if how good that offense is.
I agree. I'm thinking Mike Williams too. So I would go Mike Williams, CeeDee Lamb. I think they're the higher ceiling players. Again, Mike Williams can be a little boomer bust as well. But at this point, I want to see Bateman produce before I'm playing him over a guy like Mike Williams. So a couple good questions there. If anybody else has any out there and you're watching, don't feel free to leave them on there. I'm going to check my Twitter page here because I posted on there. If anybody has any questions, they can leave a note on there as well. I don't think we have any at this point on there. Don't see any. Okay. So Henry, let's talk about some of these games. Any games you're really looking forward to watching?
Arizona and Kansas City. I know I'm a Kansas City fan and everything, but that game's gonna be very high scoring, and it's gonna be 2 really good offenses going head to head in that game.
Yeah, that should be a fun game. Couple different ones I'm interested in. Minnesota and Green Bay. I think that should be a good game. I'm really intrigued by Minnesota this year. I like that offense with Kevin O'Connell as their head coach. I think they could be really, really good offensively this year. I'm really excited about them. And then on the flip side, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is without everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan Lazard's not there.
I think it's going to be a typical Sammy Watkins week 1 scenario again.
So Henry's saying Sammy Watkins
week 1.
Boom pick. That's true. He does do that. We're going to see it too. Let's just say this right now. There's going to be people that are going to go off in week 1 and have their best game of the season. People are going to blow all their fab money on it.
And then they're just going to not do anything else the rest of the year.
Just be a little cautious with some of these pickups. Sure, some of these guys are going to pan out. and they're still going to be good all season. But I mean, for the most part, not for the most part, but a lot of times it's just week one and that's it. Henry mentioned it. Sammy Watkins is great at that. So definitely something to keep an eye on with this week one. And don't overreact to situations. I see a ton of people already overreacting to the first game.
The Rams,
Rams
with Cam Akers, first of all,
and Buffalo. Well, I think that I think that was a fine overreaction with the Cam Akers because I don't like the way he looked when he played. And I thought Darrell Henderson looked a little better on the field personally.
And my thoughts is it is an Achilles injury, hard to come back from. They might try to, like I said with Result, they're going to make ease him into the offense later in the year. So he could have a bigger role later down the road. And I bet next year he'll probably be the starter by decision easily.
Yeah, I'm not quite as worried about Allen Robinson. A lot of people are freaking out about that. I actually mentioned it. I'll toot my own horn when we did our start sits. I said sit Allen Robinson. I was more worried with the fact that he doesn't have a great rapport with Matthew Stafford yet. And I think that showed up in that first game. Stafford didn't trust him. He looked at Cooper Kupp every chance he could get. And if you watch back the tape, a lot of times Robinson was a decoy or he was wide open as well.
Yeah, he ran a lot of hitch routes is what I looked at. I saw that in the report. And I saw a lot of times he was open. I mean, he didn't throw to him because he likes Cooper Kupp. I mean, 15 targets, 13 catches. I mean, why not target the best guy in the offense?
Yeah, you can't blame him. But I think Robinson's going to be a factor at some point. Just might be a little bit of a slow start. So don't freak out over that, okay? So let's go over some of these inactives again, just in case anybody's joined the stream at this point. We're about 15 minutes in. We're going to do this every week. We're going to call it Wake Up with RT Sports. You can we're going to go over all the inactives, ask us any questions. I'm sure this first week we're not going to get as many sit-start questions just because you should have a pretty good.
Should be able to start your studs is probably your idea for week one.
That's always my thought process at this point. We're going to have people banged up after this week, though. Other guys are going to merge, so you're going to have to, think about some situations. Exactly.
And I had one more thing I want to talk about the matchups. I'm excited to see Philadelphia's offense today. I'm excited to see how that works, especially if adding A.J. Brown. I want to see his role in the offense. I know they got an easy matchup with Detroit. No disrespect to Detroit Lions fans out there, but I really want to see how that offense plays and that team in general. I feel like they made a lot of great additions. I think they'll win the NFC East, and I think they could be a really solid team this year.
Yep, I agree. So let's talk about some of these inactives again, Henry. J.K. Dobbins is out. Nick Boyle's out. Tyler Algier is out with Atlanta. A little bit of a surprise there. Some people thought he might start. Guys that are in, Logan Thomas is in. We didn't mention that. So he's playing with Washington today. They are playing Jacksonville. So Thomas could be a factor in that game. He is coming back from major injury, but still, tight end position is not the deepest. So Logan Thomas is in. Drake London's going to play on his sore knee. He doesn't look to seem that he has many. I don't know if he's going to have many limitations in that game. So
I worry about him though, just because of the fact that New Orleans defense is very good, and it's Atlanta.
Yep. And then Ty Montgomery is in with New England. He could be kind of the pass catching back in that offense. Michael Thomas is in as well. In New Orleans, your favorite off injured receiver, he is playing this week. I'm kind of anxious to see what he does. He definitely has a high ceiling, and he could be a really good fantasy player when all is right with him. So he is playing. And then a couple late games, Zach Ertz is expected to play in Arizona, and then Chris Godwin with Tampa. George Kittle is out as well in New Orleans. We have another comment on here, question, thoughts on my three running backs being Fournette, Barkley, and McCaffrey. I mean, those are three really good running backs, right?
Yeah, I agree.
No complaints there. I'd be happy with that trio of backs and rolling them out there every week. Could be good trade bait for you too at some point as well if Barkley and McCaffrey can stay healthy. Definitely some injury risks with those guys, but high upside there with all those players. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat here, and we're happy to answer them for you. Talk about some more games, Henry. Some interesting matchup. Oh, the weather too. We can't forget about that again.
Yeah,
if you're just tuning in.
Yeah, there's the Bears and 49ers have a torrential downpour in their game, and no sign of it stopping anytime soon either. With how bad that field looks, I believe there's also supposed to be rain in Tennessee and Pittsburgh. I believe the Cincinnati game.
I think New York too.
New York too.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as crazy in those situations, so I wouldn't worry about them quite as much. But that Chicago one did not look good at this point. You can't expect it to rain that hard that long, though. I'm not a meteorologist, but man.
They said 3 more inches about 30 minutes ago, so.
Gotcha. So I would be a little concerned if you have better options at the QB spot, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Trey Lance, too, we didn't talk about him. A little interested to see how he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how he plays. I mean, he has a big scramble upside with him, which will be good in this torrential downpour that they're in right now. I worry about him throwing the ball today, but I feel like this may be a big test for him going out week 1 with this scenario that he's put in.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell could be a big factor in that matchup. Kind of excited about that. So those were all the inactives. I'll put it up on the stream again so you can see them for your own eyes here. We're not showing the Saints inactive. There we go. I refreshed the page there. Saints inactives up there now. Traquan Smith's a healthy scratch, so it's a little bit of a surprise. But the rest of them, nothing really too groundbreaking with these early inactives. As you can see here, I'll leave them up so everybody can see them. But these are on the league homepages too. If you look at the content section, you can see them all there too. So pretty good stuff so far, Henry. I mean, a lot of great matchups this first week of the season. Dallas, Tampa Bay. I think the Raiders and Chargers should be a good.
That'll be a great game. See Devontae Adams, see how he produces with Derek Carr, and also see how that Chargers offense looks this year too.
Yep. And Carolina with Baker Mayfield. He's playing against his old team, Cleveland. A lot of good storylines. NFL does a great job with that. They can, they do a good job of matching these teams up and getting the most out of
another one
matchups.
like that. We got Broncos Seahawks Monday Night Football. See how that Broncos offense looks with now adding Russell Wilson to it, which is a huge upgrade from Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. So
yeah, should be an exciting game. I think Seattle's going to be a bit of a dumpster fire this year.
Yeah, they remind me of the Jacksonville Jaguars from last year. I could see a season of like 4-13 or something.
Yeah, that's a tough division too.
Yeah,
that NFC West too. It doesn't help at all. I agree.
You can get a good quarterback out of it in the draft next year.
That's true. Get a good option.
Bryce Young.
Because it looks like Geno Smith and Drew Lock are not the answer. Drew Lock, as much as I like him being a Missouri guy, he just does not seem to get it at this point. Let's talk about some other games, Henry. New York Jets, they're playing Baltimore. The Jets, I was interested to see Zach Wilson and Breece Hall, but
we're not seeing either of them really.
Yeah. So I don't know. That game could be not a whole lot of fun to watch. I think Baltimore could really roll in that one. If you're in some of those survivor pools, what's your survivor pick this week?
I went with the Panthers, in my opinion. I think they might steamroll the Browns. They got a good defense and everything. But Jacoby Brissett at QB just scares me. Especially with their only receiver really being Amari Cooper, and then it's Anthony Schwartz, I believe. And they have Nick Chubb, but
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
He's not any better.
That's a good pick, though. I like that. I think Baltimore is a good pick, too. I like the Carolina one. I think Baker is going to have a big game this week. That revenge factor.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, too. I mean, Cincinnati at home. I know you can never count out Pittsburgh, but I'm kind of curious to see that offense.
I'm curious to see that game in general. See how Cincinnati's offense looks again this year. As last year, they made it to the Super Bowl. Their offense is probably the best in football.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, Jamar, T. Higgins, Boyd, and Mixon. That should be a fun offense. Especially now that very improved O-line, too. See how that plays.
I think one of the games, a couple games that look like duds. The Giants, Titans, not very exciting.
See the Titans maybe going, I don't know, actually. Because you never know with the Titans if Brian Tannehill starting still.
Yeah.
And they lost A.J. Brown. Excited to see Woods and Burks play.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Burks. I'm excited to see Saquon, too. I'm anxious to see what he can do. But overall, as a game, I don't think that's going to be a very good one. New England, Miami, too. I'm
excited to see Miami play, though, too. See how Tua looks at the new Tyreek connection. New England, though, I think they're going to have a terrible season, in my opinion. That's my thoughts on it. They didn't add any other weapons to help Mac Jones. They have Damian Harris still, who I think is just okay. The O-line's not the best in the world. And their defense is just okay.
Who's going to call plays?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know if they thought that one through very much. So I'm not too excited about that game either. I do like Philadelphia, Detroit. You kind of mentioned that earlier. Mm-hmm. Detroit, Dan Campbell, how can you not root for that guy? Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be a pretty exciting team. I still worry about Jared Goff as their QB. Mm-hmm. I think they're good. You've kind of talked about this before. I think he could just be kind of a bridge. Look at somebody next year. That draft class is going to be really good.
Yeah, they got a really good draft class next year. Decent amount of decent QBs in there that could be very good. Bryce Young is an example. I believe C.J. Stroud's also in the class. It's two QBs that are very highly talented, especially Bryce Young. You get him in that Detroit offense and pair him with Jameson Williams, have the connection like they did in Alabama. That could be fun to watch.
Definitely. I'm going to look on Twitter here, see if I have any questions for anybody. If anybody else has any, feel free to put them in the YouTube stream as well. We can see all those on here. We're really enjoying this. First time we're doing this. This is Wake Up with RT Sports. Again, we're going to do this every week at this time, about an hour before the game start. Go over the inactives, actives, answer any sit-start questions, anything else you might have as well. So a lot of fun doing this. I'm enjoying spending some time with you here, Henry. I've already got some food on the grill for this first week as well. I know people are into that too. I mean, I'm smoking some ribs and some chicken wings. Should be some good eating over here at the Power household.
Yeah, it should be fun. Make some great wings and ribs.
Got to do it for that first week of the season, right? Got to do it. Let's talk about some more games, maybe some things we didn't mention.
One offense I'm excited to see today is actually Jacksonville as a surprise. I'm excited to see Etienne with James Robinson looks like back for his Achilles. And also Christian Kirk is a interesting one. They paid him so much money. I have to think he's going to be insanely involved in that offense. I'll see how Trevor Lawrence takes a step in the year 2 of his career. I really like him personally as a player. I mean, he's going to take a big leap, in my opinion. He showed a lot of flashes last year. They keep adding around him and building. I could see a pretty good offense in Jacksonville.
Yeah. New Orleans, Atlanta, game we haven't talked about yet. Not too exciting there. I'm Jameis Winston, kind of intrigued by him. Michael Thomas, healthy. Yeah. See what he can do. Atlanta, though, Marcus Mariota, I don't know.
You can see Pitts and Drake London.
Pitts, that's true. Drake London, too. I mean, that could be a decent game. The other one here I wanted to mention was where I missed it. Shoot, Henry. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank now, but I think we went over all the games. It was the Houston one, Indianapolis, Houston, because Nico Collins is kind of a guy on everybody's radar. Should be a lot of fun to see him and Davis Mills. That's good, though.
Yeah. Indianapolis, I'm excited to see how we look with Jonathan Taylor again this year, offensive line. I'm also excited to see how
Matt Ryan.
I thought about Houston, Dameon Pierce.
Davis. Oh, yeah, Dameon Pierce.
I'm excited to see what he does in that offense.
I mean, there's storylines in every one of these games. It should be good. It should be good. Good first week of action. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them on the stream here. We can answer them for you. Anything else you want to talk about, Henry?
Not much. I mean, not much to talk about. We talked about a lot. We went over our inactives, went over the games, our players we like, the questions we got in the chat. I think we look good.
All right. So let's go over the ins again and outs real quick. Logan Thomas is in with Washington. Drake London's in with Atlanta. Michael Thomas is in with New Orleans. Ty Montgomery's in with New England. And outs. George Kittle, that's the big one in New Orleans. He will not play. Nick Boyle's out in Baltimore, not really huge inactive. J.K. Dobbins is the big one in Baltimore. I don't know what's going to happen in that running back situation. I would
stay clear.
Steer clear of it. Probably not worth it at this point. I want to see how it shakes out before I'm playing any of those guys. I mean, unless you're really desperate. And you shouldn't be this first week of the season, personally. So, Henry, I think that covers it all. I mean, we're 24 minutes in here. We might end this a tad early this week. Our first show that we've done, Wake Up with RT Sports. A lot of fun. Let's put the inactives up again real quick just so everybody can see them.
Yeah, we're talking about J.K. Dobbins again. I mean, I guess the only reason you're desperate is if you have maybe J.K. Dobbins and you don't have a good backup, then maybe you want to test one of those guys out. But I'd worry if you have to do that in your situation.
I'd probably play Mike Davis personally.
Yeah, I like him the most out of those.
If Kenyon Drake had been there for 2 or 3 weeks, I'd feel more comfortable because he's more explosive, can catch passes.
Also coming off what was his injury last year? It was pretty big, I think. It lasted about the rest of the year.
I thought it was like an ankle type thing. I'm not positive. Regardless, it's just not a good situation. And again, a bunch of rain in Chicago, torrential rain. There's some rain in other places too, but not quite as bad. So I'm not quite as worried. I think Tennessee, the Jets has some rain, maybe Washington, but nothing like that Chicago game at this point. Does not look good in Chicago right now. Again, we're a half hour before the game start, 35 minutes, but not great.
Should be exciting.
Yeah. Should be a great first week of action, though. Again, a lot of great games, a lot of great matchups. So should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I got some good food cooking here. I'm ready to turn on Red Zone here and see our
Maybe
buddy
Scott Hansen.
Scott Hansen. I know he's excited. Everybody loves Red Zone. What a great addition that is to fantasy, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You gotta love him.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching out there. It was a lot of fun. We got some questions, a little interaction here. Appreciate it. Again, we're going to do this every week of the season, and we're looking forward to interacting with everybody here at the Real-Time Fantasy Sports community. Thanks again. Thanks again for joining me, Henry. Really appreciate
no problem.
it. All right. This has been Jeff Paur for Real-Time Fantasy Sports.
And Henry Power.
Good luck week 1. Hopefully you win all your games.